We in the building. All right, let's do it, y'all. Week 1, NFL season, finally here. We've been previewing this thing for a minute now. It's been a minute. Officially underway tonight. Cowboys, Eagles. Yeah, I keep thinking Philadelphia is gonna blow them out, but then in the back of my mind, I'm like, it's on the table. We all just get duped because of the Michael Parsons trade. Everyone's down on Dallas. And what if the Eagles come out flat, Super Bowl hangover? Because this team we know has dealt with some issues that aren't related to talent before, right? Like the 10-1 start, flat line. That wasn't a talent issue. So who knows? Maybe tonight is more interesting, but my money's going to be on Philadelphia routing the Cowboys. And if you're a Cowboys fan, the one thing of all that pains you the most is that should be such a gut punch. One that sends a message to Jerry Jones where he decides, I've got to make some changes, man. I can't be the 82-year-old general manager. I can't be doing press conferences every week. Can't be showing up on radio shows. It's a distraction. But I don't think that's going to happen. So, got the Eagles winning tonight. But also, I'd be remiss because I'm a Jet fan. You guys see the little Jet older gentleman up there, right? I'm a Jet fan. And I'm devastated because, and I tweeted this out at Ty D Butler. If you guys want to follow me on social media, that's X, that's Instagram, my YouTube page. I said, listen, as a person who is spiritual, the Jets will have you out here questioning your faith because it feels like no team undergoes bad injury luck like the New York Jets. Feels like that. Before we can even get to game 1, you're already dealing with a significant injury. And I understand that because we don't talk too much about the offensive line. It's not glamorous. You know, we'll power rank quarterbacks. We'll power rank receivers and running backs and edge rushers. Think about the conversations this all off season were about those positions, right? You know, T. Higgins getting his money. You know, about Micah Parsons eventually getting that bag, right? So we don't highlight the offensive line as much as we should. But man, when those guys get hurt, you really start to understand how significant they are. It's incredible. So AVT, for the third time, is suffering a season-ending injury. And on one hand, you feel bad for him. You feel bad for him because it's the final year of his contract. He's in line to get paid. That dude's awesome. But he heads into his next offseason a lot of uncertainty. And maybe that all but closes the door on the final chapter of his Jet career. And I guess if you're being honest, like he's a bust, right? Like he's been a bust. If you are someone, and we're going to have the same conversations with Giant fans about Andrew Thomas. We know that from a talent perspective, you're spectacular. We know from a productivity standpoint, phenomenal. But The best ability is what? Availability. And when you are consistently hurt, fairly or unfairly, that verdict is in. So when it comes to AVT, that's a significant injury for the New York Jets. And it's fascinating because all off season long, it's been like we're gonna run the football, we're gonna run the football, run the football. What allows us to be confident in that rushing attack isn't just the running back room, the toys that you have at your disposal with Brees, with Braylon, and with Isaiah Davis. It's about, think about this. We've been saying best offensive line the Jets have had since the Rex Ryan days. It's a decade and a half ago. So when you put those things side by side, excellent running back room, best offensive line you've had in 15 years. You're excited about the two tackles, fashionable rookie season last year, and now Membu. You're like, okay, I don't know what I'm going to get from my quarterback in Justin Fields. We'll talk about him in a moment. But at the very least, I feel excited about what the run game will be. Now, we can differ in our ideology. I've kind of evolved into it used to be establish the run. I've evolved to you establish the pass, that sets up the run. And that's how football has, evolved into. Even if we differ on philosophies, the one thing we can agree on is pretty good running back room. Offensive line has the potential to be special. All right. I don't know what I'm getting from Justin Fields, the thrower, because his resume tells me not going to get a whole lot. But what I do know is because of his ability to run the football, with those three running backs, maybe, just maybe, this offense can be a little bit better than expected. And yesterday, I'm taking my boys to get haircuts, and that flashes across my timeline, and I'm just like, oh my goodness. Once again? Like, we're doing this again? And that's the part, to me, that I really struggle with. As a fan, it hurts me to my core. It's not like, no one's going to have pity on you. But it's like, dog, we haven't even gotten to week 1 yet. And we're already dealing with a massive injury. It's not a sexy name. It's not one that you heard people talking about all off season long. But it's someone who is vital to this Jet identity. And the identity is we're going to be a tough, hard-nosed team that specializes in running the football. And our defense probably will be what wins us games. Already dealing with an injury. Now we're talking about Tippmann and Josh Myers. Those guys both be, and it's funny, they were both listed on the starting depth chart. But here we go again. It was Rodgers a couple years ago. 4 plays into the season. I'm still skeptical about how healthy Sauce Gardner is with this calf injury that we don't seem to have a lot of clarity on. And all of a sudden it was like, it's not just his calf. What they say was his fibula. So listen, I said this on radio on ESPN in New York last week, and this is not to be mean, but I got to tell my truth, right? And my truth is the closer we get to the season, the less confident I am in Justin Fields, because while I recognize there have been tremendous reclamation project success stories with Baker Mayfield, with the Geno Smith and Sam Darnold, like we have seen quarterbacks go elsewhere and figure it out. This is on the table for Justin. I don't want to throw Jared Goff in that category because Jared Goff did get the Rams to a Super Bowl, but clearly that thing soured with the Rams to the point where they traded him away, and it was a win-win for both teams. As much as I acknowledge that's a possibility, I don't think that, gun to my head, that's going to be the end result. And I guess built into my brain structure, part of my DNA is to be a pessimistic Jet fan. Like, you see the quarterbacks, two of who I mentioned were Jet quarterbacks, went elsewhere to find it. That doesn't happen here. What happens here is you have a four-time league MVP, 1 year removed from winning the second of his back-to-back MVPs. Still, maybe not in the prime of his career, but still top 10 quarterback. What happens to the Jets, he gets here, tears his Achilles. What happens to the Jets is the year everyone's picking them to win the Super Bowl in 99, Testaverde tears his Achilles. That's what happens to this team. Same old Jets. So I'm just trying to figure out if this team is going to be better than expected. Is it possible for them to get through an entire season where they're essentially hiding their quarterback? I don't think that that's possible, because here's the underrated part of week 1. Sneaky big game. Sneaky big game. Because after week 1, you've got the Bills. And I know the Jets have had some success against the Bills, but it's a possibility Buffalo stumbles at home Sunday night. They lose to the Ravens. Anyone think the Bills are going to start the season 0-2? No. So I guess if you're a Jet fan, you got to be rooting for Buffalo week 1, because if they lose, they're going to come out on a vengeance. Then after that, you go to Tampa Bay. And I'm starting to come across people who are low on the Buccaneers. I saw a ton of predictions picking the Buccaneers to miss the playoffs. I can't quite figure that one out. But I think that is one of the toughest games on the schedule for the New York Jets this year. And, going to Tampa Bay against Todd Bowles, that's an L. You've got a Monday night game against Miami. It's early in the season, and maybe there's been a little bit of an overcorrection on the Miami conversation, where they went from just being, I love Chris Broussard, it calls them break dancers. They don't like to get physical. They don't like to get tough. It went from just that, like you can't trust them in big spots late in the season, to his, health issues, to they're going to be terrible. I don't think they're going to be terrible. It's a tough schedule. And I guess if you're a Jets and you're not that good of a team, every schedule, regardless of who you roll out there, is tough. Point being, week 1, underrated sneaky game. So now you've got maybe the best coach in all of football in Mike Tomlin, who had Justin Fields as his quarterback last year. So he knows him up close and personal. He's got a beat on who he is and how he likes to operate. Understands the Jets want to be a run-heavy team. So the best coaches and the best defenses are going to force you to beat them different ways. And we're talking about someone as experienced as Mike Tomlin versus Aaron Glenn in his first game. And even if you think Aaron Glenn is headed for Canton, Ohio, what you can't argue is going to be some bumps in the road. It's his first game. So the Jets operating at a massive coaching disadvantage. I think the Steelers are more talented. I think their quarterback, even at age 42, is better, which is why I argued Jets should have brought him back. So there are a bunch of layers to this. As far as if you're picking this game, why you would be going against the Jets. And now the Jets just suffered a significant injury on that offensive line. Oh, yeah, and then there's TJ Watt. So Tomlin, we know his defense is always going to be good. they fizzled out at the end of last year, not because of their defense, because their offense was anemic. So against this Jet team that probably is going to struggle offensively if that running game is not going, I just don't know how you have a lot of optimism in week one. I just don't know. So hit us up. We're on X. We are at Ty D Butler on X. We're on YouTube as well. So hit us up on YouTube. Hop in the comments. We're here, baby. We talking football. So it's going to be a tough game, to say the least. And already dealing with injuries, which has diluted some of my excitement. That's just what it is. As far as the Giants are concerned, you've got Jackson Dart listed as the number 2 quarterback on the depth chart, and that is insanely interesting because he quite literally is one hit away. One hit away. Now, I know sometimes we get annoyed by it when we're watching our favorite teams in these games, but give the NFL credit for their due diligence in the research and in the proper protocols instituted in these games to where anytime a quarterback looks like he takes a hit that could affect his head or his neck area, he's headed to that intent. Concussion protocol, he's got to pass a series of exams, which means all it takes is one hit or one moment where an NFL official thinks, I don't like the way that looked when it comes to Russell Wilson, and in comes Jackson Dart. In comes Jackson Dart. Now, I have been on record for the last, I think it's been a month now, y'all, where I've called one of my upsets of this week, and I want to look at the spread. It's been 6.5, so let's see where we are now. One of my upsets that I'm already calling, I think I'm going to put this in a money line, by the way. Giants over the Commanders. I watched the Giants last year against a Commanders team that was headed to the NFC Championship game, come close to beating them twice. Now, I get it. Bad teams find ways to lose. But the Giants historically have played this team really well. The Giants last year in the game didn't have a kicker. The Giants last year lost a game because Malik Neighbors on 4th down dropped the football. They're going to win this game. And I get the trendy pick is Washington's going to take a step back, which a lot of Commanders fans feel like it's disrespectful. Guys, here is what a step back literally means. All it means is you don't get to the NFC Championship game, which is hard to do in the NFL back-to-back years. Ask the Ravens. Like, look at great teams that were in the NFC Championship. Ask the Detroit Lions. We're talking about phenomenal teams that we thought could win the Super Bowl. It's incredibly difficult to get to championship games in back-to-back seasons. So if you're saying that they're not going to do that this year, that is, by definition, them taking a step back. So I think the Giants win week 1. I don't think that this means they're going to have a great season. Schedule's tough, man. Dallas week 2. Haven't beaten Dak since 2016. Home for Kansas City on a Sunday night game in week 3. Chargers week 4. The Saints week 5 is a gimme. But then it's a short week against the Eagles. It's a brutal schedule for the Giants. Now, maybe we should learn from the error of our ways because every single season we line ourselves up to be, wrong, incorrect when we do these win-loss games because there's a worst to first, there's a first to worst, roster construction, injuries. Like, so many different variables are in play, especially when it comes to football. Who could have predicted that would happen? Cincinnati missing the playoffs. Cincinnati losing week 1 to the Patriots, which is why a lot of people are like, yo, Survivor Pool, I'm not picking Cincinnati this year on the road against the Browns, even though the Bengals better win that game. So maybe we've been so seduced by the win-loss based on last year's iteration of the team, and to some degree, like the limited evidence we have of what this team is going to be like. I just look at the schedule, and I don't think the Giants are going to be very good. I think their defense has a ceiling of being top 3 in football, but I don't know what I'm getting from Andrew Thomas, who's played 16 games in his last 2 years combined. I don't know what I'm getting from Russell Wilson, who looked cooked the last four or 5 games of the season for Pittsburgh. And I just look at that schedule and say, you play in one of the toughest divisions in football. Now, Dallas got weaker by losing Micah, but I still think Dallas is a playoff team. You're playing against one of the toughest divisions in football in that NFC North. So, by the way, you'll still get a chance to see Micah Parsons. And if that's not the toughest division in football, people could argue it's the NFC West. I'm sorry, the AFC West. Another division you're going up against. So, because of those reasons, I just don't see a lot of success for the Giants, which means that the most intrigue this year is going to be, when do we see Jackson Dart? How does he look? I think because of, now to what degree this matters, because of the success he had during the preseason, there is going to be an early appetite for Jackson Dart. Like, he is your symbol of hope. This is someone who has an opportunity to do what Daniel Jones couldn't do, and has developed into a franchise quarterback. The Giants haven't had a quarterback throw for 30 touchdowns since 2016, which is amazing. It might have been 2015. It's been a decade since the Giants had a quarterback throw for 30 touchdowns, which, considering the NFL today, 30 is not a lot, right? So we'll see what happens. But with Dart, that is a guy a lot of fans are excited about, and rightfully so. And the moment they get off to a bad start, it'll just be like this clock ticking on when we see him. Because not only is that important for Giant fans and John Mara, it's important for the regime. Brian Dable, Joe Shane, understand they are on the clock. The best way they save their job after enduring back-to-back losing seasons is to put on full display they drafted the right guy and can then develop him. Because if that doesn't happen, if we get to the worst case scenario where, let's just say Jackson Dart plays 7-8 games and he looks horrendous, if you're John Mara, that's a tough decision to make. That's a tough call, because part of you wants to exude patience and say, look, we've seen rookie quarterbacks struggle. Like, you'll have numerous examples where Eli didn't look great and Peyton didn't, throwing a bunch of interceptions. Caleb last year. But because of the losing continuing to pile up, it's like, yo, how much more patience can I have? You heard John Mara at that media availability say last year, I'm running out of patience. So this thing has to look good, and it has to look good pretty quickly when it comes to their young quarterback, not the team overall. Now, the team defensively, because of what it has been made out to be, they have to look great. But I'm looking at the controllables, and you control everything. But again, the expectations are this defense should be damn good, the New York Giants. All right, so that's the Jets. and the Giants. Hit me up. Ty D. Butler. Want to get the comments flowing. Want to try to get these comments flowing on YouTube. Hold on one moment, y'all. Trying to get these comments flowing on YouTube. Hit that like button. Want to see y'all out here. Subscribe to the channel. Let's get these comments flowing on YouTube. So that's the Jets and the Giants. Week 1 overall. Look, I'm excited, man. Who's not excited? Football is finally back. Finally back. I think the Eagles went in a rout tonight, beating the Cowboys. Pains me to say, if you're a Patriots fan out there, man, I think you are in for a really fun season. That's a fun team. A sneaky game this week, by the way. Patriots Raiders. I think Vegas could be pretty fun, man. Genty, Bowers, Geno, Pete Carroll. I think that could be a really fun team. Sneaky game. Sneaky game. Of course, we got the Chiefs and the Chargers tomorrow from Brazil. Kansas City's interesting because them winning back-to-back Super Bowls meant, like, if it's not broken, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So they were able to get away with just eking out of these games, rely on our defense. I wonder, because of how they lost last year, and because we've now seen like back-to-back season with Mahomes not looking like the Mahomes from when he first started, the Mahomes that had him in GOAT conversations and still is in GOAT conversations. I wonder if he's the type, because we have those types of athletes. Like, I want to, I don't just want to win, but I want to show y'all, you guys were wrong about me. The MJs, the Kobe's of the world. Y'all were wrong to write me off. And let me phrase it so that people understand what I'm talking about. Not writing Mahomes off as far as, like, can he win? Like, obviously, he's still upper echelon. I think he's still the best quarterback in football. But writing him off in terms of, can he get back to that MVP level? People are saying Josh Allen's the best quarterback. People are saying Lamar's the best quarterback, or Joe Burrow. Like, it's a top 4, and the rankings are debatable. So I think that, to some degree, is going to fuel Patrick Mahomes, because, again, the greatest players need any ounce of motivation they can get to just push them. So Kansas City against the Chargers, I mean, what a pathetic showing in the playoffs last year. Absolutely mortifying the way they went out. And Herbert throwing, all those interceptions. To not win a playoff game after a season that successful, and we know Harbaugh's an excellent coach, this is a phenomenal game. Friday night, Brazil, so, it's not a home game for either team. Things get weird, similar to like the London situation. That is a tremendous game. Couple of other games I'm looking at. As I said, Raiders, Patriots. Of course, I'll be locked in on the Jets and the Steelers. Giants, Commanders. Bucks, Falcons. That's a fun one, man. I see some folks high on Atlanta this year. That offense, Michael Penix Jr., we'll see. I think the Bucks still win that division, but would I be shocked if Atlanta came out of nowhere and stole it from them? No. 49ers, Seahawks, that is Sam Darnold's debut in Seattle. 49ers coming off of a rough season. Jawad Jennings just got his extension. But with C-Mac and Trent, just traded Debo. Purdy now gets his bag. This is a critical season for him. A lot of pressure on you as a quarterback when you finally get paid. He got his bag. Kittle got his money as well. So that's a fun game. Broncos, Titans. This is a popular survivor pool game. Does anyone expect Cam Ward, who might be the least talked about number 1 overall pick we've ever seen, Does anyone expect Cam Ward to go on the road to the Mile High City in Denver against a playoff team from last year? Sean Payton coached, led playoff team and win that game. So I see a bunch of folks jumping on that Denver bandwagon. Lions Packers, one of the best games of the weekends. Micah Parsons making his debut. Two teams that could very well win the championship this year. That's juicy, man. Texans Rams, I love that. Matt Stafford, listen, if he's healthy, I think the Rams are a legit team. Rams had a chance to beat the Eagles last year. That was the closest the Eagles came to losing. Texans, here's the thing with the Texans. Successful season because they got back to the playoffs. They won a playoff game. CJ Stroud, bit of a down year where he took, statistical steps back in a lot of major categories. Big year for him to show last year was a bit of a fluke because this is where year 3, what was flukier? Year 1, where you excelled, or year 2, where you struggled a little bit? Ton of injuries for the Texans last year. Ton of injuries for them. But this is a big year for CJ Stroud. The Texans needing to take that next step. We know you can win a playoff game. Are you a legitimate contender? That's the question in Houston. And then Sunday night, this is gorgeous. What a beauty. Ravens, Bills. Rematch of the divisional round in the playoffs last year. Mark Andrews, I still have not gotten over how you did that. And people are just focused on the 2-point conversion. My man fumbled in the open field in this game. Ravens should have won this one. Should have been Baltimore against Kansas City. But it was the Bills who got it done. Josh Allen coming back from his MVP season, which still doesn't make sense to me. MVP for Josh Allen, first team All-Pro quarterback for Lamar Jackson. That doesn't make any sense. But what a beauty, what an absolute gem we have Sunday night. And then Monday night, important game, dare I say must win for Caleb Williams. New coach. So you don't have that as an excuse this year. Everyone wanted to blame Eberflus. Look, it's cool, right? Struggled his first year. We can blame the coaching situation. No one was talking about the coaching situation when they were predicting this guy to go to the playoffs in his rookie season. But it's all good. New coach, Ben Johnson's supposed to be this offensive genius. We'll see. We shall see. Hit me up, Ty D. Butler is where you can find me on X, on Instagram, on my YouTube page. We're going to be doing this pretty much every single day. We'll get all the bells and whistles with the intro music, the slogans, some graphics. We'll do all that. Maybe have a couple guests on the show. But this is going to be what we move toward. Because the world is moving towards streaming. So I'm like, I got to hop in here and do my thing. Ty Butler Show here on YouTube. Appreciate you guys for joining. Got to figure out the comment situation on YouTube. I don't know why YouTube wasn't allowing me to take comments today. But I want y'all to hit me up. Hit me up. Let's do it. And this is something we will continue to do throughout the season. Appreciate y'all. Have a blessed one. Holla at me.